Got a frequency table, and we're supposed to use it to determine the number of values greater than or equal to 8. So they're talking about the value. How many values did we get that were greater or equal to 8? Well, there were 4 8s because it has a frequency of 4. So there's 4 that are equal to 8. That's one that meets the criteria of being equal to 8. And then values that are greater than 8, there's 7 of the 9s, and then the number 10 came up 5 times. So the number of values that are greater than or equal to 8 is 16. A relative frequency table is like taking the frequency and breaking it down into the percentage. So we're asked to create the relative frequency table for this table here, and then these are our multiple choice options. So to figure this out, what I need to know is the total frequency. We've got like maybe there's 8 3s that came up, there's 5 4s that came up. I don't know what this might be. Maybe values of a dice roll or something like that. So we want to find out the total number of objects there are in this frequency table. So we just add the 8, the 5, add all the frequencies together. There's 30 objects. And all we have to do for the relative frequency is take each frequency and divide it by the total. So there's like 26.7%, so 0.26. We'll just round here. There's 0.267, or in other words, about 27% of the items in this frequency table are value 3. Take the 5, divide that by the total. This is 0.167 roughly. Take the 8 divided by the total. That's another 0.267, same thing as up here. And then 9 divided by 30, that makes 0.3. Okay, so finding the table that matches. Looks like this one is our relative frequency table. So, relative frequency table is where you break the frequencies down into percentages. So we're given this relative frequency table here. We're supposed to calculate the cumulative relative frequency table. So the difference between the relative frequency table and a cumulative relative frequency table is that the cumulative relative frequency table is supposed to tell you what percentage is left as as we keep adding more percentages into the pile. Like for instance, the frequency value of 2, we have 0.33, and then once we move to the next category, to the next value of 3, we should have 0.63 for our relative frequency table, for a cumulative relative frequency table. And then for the next one in our cumulative relative frequency table, we just add the previous this frequency to the previous total. So 0.1 plus 0.63 makes 0.73. And then if we've done it right, it should add up to 100% when we're done. This is the cumulative relative frequency table. So to figure out, we just have to pick which one matches. My second option is the one that matches the cumulative relative frequency table. Okay, because the relative frequency table, it's all the options, so it should add up to 100%, right? And these do. If you were to add them up in a calculator, they make 100%. A cumulative relative frequency table is like telling you, okay, you got 33% after value 2. And then if you include value 3, then that makes 63%. Keeps adding up until you reach that 100%.